You're being watched. Every time you go online, internet service providers track your every move. Here in the United States, they're selling our browsing history. Until that changes, you need to protect yourself like I do with ExpressVPN, an easy-to-use app that encrypts and reroutes all your internet traffic through secure servers. With ExpressVPN, your internet provider can't see your browsing history, and it hides your IP address and location. Plus, you can even change your IP address to stay completely private and anonymous online. And with servers in over 100 countries, you can appear virtually anywhere. It's so easy to use. One button and you're connected. And with apps for every device, phones, laptops, desktops, tablets, ExpressVPN makes it simple to stay private anywhere you connect. Start taking your online privacy seriously like I do with ExpressVPN. Get up to 4 extra months of ExpressVPN right now at expressvpn.com/Kim. That's expressvpn.com/Kim. Sign up for my free daily newsletter, The Current, at getkim.com. Hey, thanks for tapping into this episode of The Current. Today, we've got a really fun throwback episode of this podcast. Back when Andrew and I spoke with a U.S. Marine whose photo had been used to scam women online for nearly 10 years. Oh my gosh, you don't want to miss this. And while you're at it, if you could help us out and leave a great 5-star rating and review, I would so appreciate that. Alrighty then, let's get to it. Enjoy this podcast. So when you are... not that you're doing anymore.
Mm-hmm.
When you're out there and you're single and you're looking,
Right.
And if some hot woman says, "Hi, Andrew, I'm in love with you,"
Right.
Do you think wow, it's my lucky day?
The first message? That's the first message?
Yes.
No, I don't think that at all. I think it's a scam.
Well, joining us is Kagan Dunlap. He is a good-looking U.S. Marine,
I'll be the judge of that.
and since 2015. He's been targeted by romance scammers who are using his name and likeness and image in order to scam women. And it's gotten so bad that, some of these women are reaching out to his wife saying, "I don't know if you know this, but Kagan and I are running away to Switzerland and we're going to get married."
Oh, no.
I know. So joining us right now is Kagan.
All right, fine. He is good looking.
Okay, I told
you were right.
Okay, he's better looking than you.
Of course. Well, most people on the planet are better looking than me.
There's that. So, Kagan, let's be honest. What do you think about Andrew's outfit?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not the guy who knows anything about outfits, to be honest with you. So, I always tell people wear what's comfortable,
See?
My wife doesn't tell me what I wear. I don't tell her what she can wear. Honestly, I just wear loose-fitting stuff whenever I can because if I'm at work, I'm not necessarily going to have that choice.
Here's the difference since we've sidetracked to this. It took me about 4.5 seconds to get dressed before I left the house. I grabbed 3 things off 3 hangers and threw them on my body. That was planned, took time.
It did.
You thought over it.
Effort, energy.
And you decided, we'll have 3 different reds. That's fine.
It is not. You know what? You're colorblind.
These are first world problems.
They are.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
All right. So, Kagan, thanks for being here. Read about what you have done. Take us back to when it all started.
So it really started in 2015, I would say roughly. So I would say that the time where they started to feed off of my photos and take photos and videos and stuff like that was 2015. But I first found out that this was happening in 2016 while I was actually on a field operation in Yuma, Arizona. I had a photo that I had posted in early 2015, probably in January. We were doing some training in 29 Palms, California, the Marine Air Ground Task Force training facility over there. And I had posted a picture on my Instagram of myself in a Humvee, and you could see this thing that's called a trip ticket that was under the visor at the top. And on this trip ticket, it's basically like a way that you log your distance and where you're traveling and stuff. And on there is a list of phone numbers for contacts for people that were involved in the process of getting the vehicle issued out and all that stuff. Kind of complicated. But point is, a lady called one of the sergeants that was on that list and called and was like, "Hey, do you know this guy? I've been talking to him for a year. He hasn't responded to any of my messages, and apparently took some money or something like that. And so that guy, his name's Sergeant Staggs. I think he's in the Army now. He got out of the Marine Corps. He's in the Army. He called me. He was like, "Hey, do you know this lady by any chance?" And I was like, "No. What are you talking about?" Like, I didn't have any idea what he was talking about. And it turns out that she had sent him a picture that she got his number from, which was that picture. And I'm like, oh, this is what's going on. So somebody had been sending her photos of me claiming to be me and was like trying to, and this is a very stereotypical thing. Happens. I've got dozens and dozens of friends that this has happened to as well, where, you know, there's people that have reached out to them thinking they had been like talking to them or in a relationship with them, and typically it always starts off with they're just trying to romance them. And then it always ends up like asking for money in some way. At some point, it always ends up there, like either some disaster befell them or their family, or they can't travel, or the military's not paying them, or some other nonsense that's not true. And they try to like feed off of people's emotions to get them to give them money or to buy gift cards for them or to do things of that nature.
And so
that's kind of where it started.
So it seems like, the military guys seem to be a big target for this, huh?
Yeah. Well, for the longest time, before you had things like Starlink, you couldn't necessarily get cell phone service in these remote, austere environments. But now you can get internet across the planet, including Syria, Iraq, everywhere. It doesn't matter where you're located on Earth, you can have internet. And basically the thing that I've told everybody is if the person does not won't do a video chat with you, like a FaceTime with you, and they're trying to say, "Oh, I can't do that because we don't have internet here," or something, that is your first red flag, and that's a lie. I know people that FaceTime people on the front lines in Ukraine every day, and they have signal out there. So if they have signal out there, then this person claiming not to have signal is not located where they're saying they're located. They're probably located. Oftentimes, it's Nigeria is one of the big locations where this is happening out of, because there's a $2 billion a year industry there, just because there's a lot of people suffering from abject poverty. So people are willing to do a lot to get food on the table, right? So that's one of the locations that I've seen, especially a lot of open source intelligence reporting coming out of there.
So Kagan, how many women have actually, do you think, been scammed using your name, like your name and your image, and have they reached out to you directly to say, "Hey, why did you stop talking to me"?
Yeah, it's happened. So I couldn't tell you, like hundreds, easily hundreds, because I mean, this has been an ongoing thing I've been dealing with, like I said, since 2016. And I would get messages all the time. I would get phone calls somehow, because somehow they would find my number. There were times where I was like out hiking and I got a phone call from some random person in like Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, saying that they were talking to somebody that was claiming to be me on Tinder, and they were asking them for money, and they somehow, I don't know how they managed to get my phone number. I have no idea, but it is pretty creepy when you think about it. A lot of people using reverse Google images search. Yeah. Whatever that is, and that they can find out who you are. Plus, now it's like a little different than it was in 2016, because I've got tons of photos and videos of me all over the internet. I've got a pretty big presence on Google, so you can figure out who I am relatively easily now. But back then it was a little harder, but they were still managing to find ways to contact me, not just through Instagram DMs, because I got to a point where I was like, I can't even respond to all these anymore because it was too much.
So now we're talking about a decade where this has been happening and hundreds of victims. Have you attempted to do anything to get this stopped or find out the people who are doing this?
Oh, yeah. No, I was working with... there's an organization that's based out of the UK. It's mostly ran by a group of middle-aged ladies who have been impacted by this. And so they kind of built an organization around it. And originally that was the group I was working with. And at one point they used to have a contact at Facebook fraud department who could reach out. They could reach out to this guy and he could get these fake accounts taken down. Since then, this guy's vacated the organization, doesn't work for them anymore. So they don't have a contact with Facebook fraud anymore. And they're unable to do anything to really stop it. I've also had a deep fake made of me, where
Really?
they were like asking for money from people for a service in uniform, which is against the Uniform Code of Military Justice. And I immediately told the Naval Investigative Criminal, what was it, NCIS? I can't remember what it stands for some reason right now, but I told NCIS immediately, told my chain of command, and I reached out to some friends I have at the Pentagon to help get that taken down through official means, because like obviously that's a huge problem, and it's happening to more and more service members now. Because like the scamming thing, yes, that's a big problem, but now deep fakes are an issue, especially if you have a pretty big online presence and
sure.
you've never posted videos in uniform, and they can like take your name or take your voice and run it through an AI generator to like type in whatever they want you to say. And then they can just have you say whatever spiel they want and con people out of money and make it look like it's you, So it's getting pretty sketchy out there, especially with AI.
If you own a home, listen up. This is scary. The FBI is warning about a crime on the rise: home title theft. And it doesn't happen the way you might think. No break-ins, no stolen keys, just a forged signature on a single piece of paper filed with the county. In minutes, criminals can transfer the title out of your name, then use your ownership to drain your equity or even sell your home. The worst part, most people don't know what's happening until they get collection or foreclosure notices in the mail. That's why I trust Home Title Lock. When you visit HometitleLock.com/Kim, you'll get a free title history report and a 14-day free trial of their $1 million triple lock protection, including 24/7 monitoring of your home's title, urgent alerts to changes, and if fraud does happen. Their U.S.-based restoration team will work to restore your title, covering costs up to $1 million. Don't wait. Protect your home and equity today. Get your free 14-day trial at HometitleLock.com/Kim. That's HometitleLock.com/Kim.
Yeah, because AI is, I mean, fabulous in so many ways, but when it comes to deep fakes, it's just far too easy. I mean, they only need a couple of seconds of your voice, and then they can just go ahead and duplicate it. And then as far as with video, like you mentioned, if they won't have a video call, then it's probably a scam, which is great, Kagan. But now they have the deep fake videos that, if you look close enough, you can see that it's probably deep fake, but we're pretty darn close where those worlds are going to be colliding. I'm interested about your wife, because I heard that some of these women have actually tracked down your wife and said he's my man.
Yeah. Well, not only have they reached out to my wife, they've reached out to my mom on Facebook.
Oh, no.
Which is wild. Yeah. It's pretty crazy. I mean, they've been reaching out to my wife constantly because her Instagram handle's tagged in my bio on Instagram so that people understand, like, hey, look, I'm married. If any account's messaging you with my face and a name that's similar to mine or anything, then it's not me. All my accounts are verified across all social media: my TikTok, my Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, everything, Facebook. So it's pretty easy to tell that, like, hey, this is the real profile, and any of these other ones are fakes. And we also have a pretty good, like, I would say a very strong level of trust between us, just based on how our marriage has been. But so she understands, like, this is like a thing that's happened. It's happened to her too. She's had multiple people call her, because she's also in the military. She's in the Coast Guard. So she's dealt with this similar stuff as well. But she's been pretty understanding with me about it, for sure. Like, never had any issue with me, but it's just another frustrating thing, because she's like had women who wouldn't let it go. Like what you guys were talking about, like, guys couldn't accept the fact that this is not actually happening. Yeah. Like, they were convinced, and there's nothing anybody could say to change their mind or dissuade them, or, because they just were, I guess, people want to believe what they want to believe sometimes, and there's nothing anybody can say to stop them. And I've also had people come after us thinking that it was us, or thinking it was me or something, like, out of anger because they got scammed for money, but I didn't have anything to do with it. Like, you can't blame me because other scammers on the internet want to use my likeness to try to impersonate me and, like, con you out of money. And the easiest way to solve this is just to preach to everybody, like, hey, if you've never met anyone in person yes. and they're asking you for money, maybe you shouldn't send them money. Like, that's the first rule of business.
Yeah, and it's you'd think like this is like common sense.
But it's not. It's happening every single day.
I mean, this one guy that I'm talking to, I mean, he gave Reese Witherspoon like $50,000. Okay, obviously not Reese
Witherspoon.
Yes,
right?
Exactly. Not exactly.
It's like, come on, man.
You
think Reese Witherspoon's hitting you up, dude?
Okay, but her mom is involved. Reese's mom.
Oh, Jesus.
A fake Reese's mom.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and because the mom's trying to find the perfect man for Reese, and it's like I'm sitting there thinking to myself, like, dude, she's beautiful, she's a billionaire. I think she can find her own man.
Right. She doesn't struggle.
She's not going to be looking for a 70-year-old retired guy in the Midwest.
Do you think that your military history or your online popularity is the number one reason that you're being used in these scams?
100% military service, because
Okay.
it happens to some. Yeah, it started off like that before anybody knew who I was, before I had any level of following whatsoever, and it happens to tons and tons of my friends. I've got a good friend of mine named Tim Kennedy. I don't know if you know who that is. He's been affected by this. He used to be a UFC fighter for a while, pretty well known, former Green Beret. I think he still serves in some sort of capacity. I'm not sure, but he's been affected by this a ton, like tons of fake accounts of him all over the place, scamming women. Another good friend of mine is a big YouTuber out in California. Austin Alexander runs a big fitness organization out there called the Battle Bunker and the Hypercon Games. He's also been affected by this a ton. He got out of the Navy and he's still being affected by it all the time. It just like anybody I know that's ever posted pictures of themselves in uniform on the internet, practically almost all of them have been affected by this in some way. And it's weird because like sometimes these scammers will, they'll make fake accounts of this person and then follow people that this person follows, which then they're like, hey, do you have like an extra account or something I don't know about? It's weird. It's like real creepy and insidious, and just like there's just like this level of insidiousness to it. It's just like gross.
They're getting intel.
Yeah,
They're following all the
Yeah.
people so they can get more information, so the scam sounds a little more believable.
So
Yeah,
bottom
probably.
line,
And I mean, a lot of these folks are sitting around in these buildings, and there's like a room with like 16 people in it, all on laptops, just like on every dating website and every social media app, and they're all just DMing thousands of women a day, hoping that because even if it's only one or two that bite, like think about how far $100 American dollars goes in a place like Lagos. It's going to go a long way.
well, there's also now human trafficking that's happening too in Asia.
Oh, yeah.
Where where there's a story, I think the New York Times wrote about it, where a guy thought he was getting a programming job.
Oh, yeah.
And he ended up in Malaysia and as a prisoner, and he had to scam like 14 hours a day, and if he didn't make enough money, they'd beat him up, and then finally he raised enough money to get himself out. And I mean, when you think about scammers, you don't really have that vision until these stories are being exposed. But Kagan, thanks for being here, and word to the wise, right? You see him, a hot military guy or gal. Okay.
Well, first off, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Yeah, hopefully this gets the word out to somebody, because I guarantee there's some other middle-aged folks out there that maybe they don't know, and I mean, typically this kind of thing impacts folks that are in the baby boomer generation,
For sure.
if I had to guess, more than likely, because they're may not be as tech savvy, or they're not used to this type of stuff, because this is new. This is fairly new in culture. Like it used to be like the Nigerian princes emailing you on Yahoo or Hotmail or something.
Yeah.
And now it's all being done on social media and dating apps. So yeah.
And it's sad because they're preying on people's loneliness, and especially during the holidays, it goes up higher.
Yeah. And their emotions, and like using love as a way to scam money, man. That's a huge bummer,
Yeah, I love you so much. I need your money.
Yes, of course. Prove your love to me.
Exactly. Like that doesn't add up,
Well, Kagan, thanks for being here. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciate you. Thanks for having me.
If we save one person,
Seriously.
just one person, we all did our job.
Yeah, even one person makes a difference,
It does. It does, absolutely. All right, Andrew, I'm sorry to tell you that Kagan's better looking than you.
Yeah. Just the minute he popped on the screen, I knew that. And he's sitting here saying hundreds of people. No one's a person made me online. Not one person.
I don't know. Don't know why.
I mean, multiple reasons. This outfit's probably number one. You're not going to deep fake anything in this outfit.
Who'd wear black socks and pants except for you?